It will technically be October 1st when I post this video, which means it's finally a socially acceptable time to be celebrating Halloween. The body of this kitten pattern was initially part of my 8-in-1 Kittens and Minis pattern, which made it so I officially had 3 sizes of cats. Large, which is my original cat pattern, medium, which is a kitten, and then small, which is a mini. A few years ago when I first started getting really into crochet, I only sold plushies, and that's how I made a living. And Halloween plushies sell like crazy. So I gathered up all of my designs over the past few years and added a bunch of new ones to create this like super mega pattern bundle for this year. My goal for this pattern was to include as many costume cats as I could, along with the spooky Halloween cats, so that you could use this pattern all year round. A cat as a cactus, a cat as a birthday cake, a cat as a taco. Those are some of my favorites, and I feel like those designs could be used year round. If you like my work and you want to support me as an artist, you can come hang out with me on Patreon to get sneak peeks of everything I'm working on and a free pattern every month. You could pick up a PDF copy of my patterns, that really helps me out, or you could just leave me a nice comment and we could become friends. Alright, self-promotion out of the way. Let's head over to my desk and make this cute little kitten. Before we get started, I thought I would show you some of the materials I'm going to be using today. Size 6 plush yarn. This is burlap blanket. And then this is a new kind I've been trying that I really like. It's super soft and it's pretty interchangeable. It's about the same size as burlap blanket and it's from Michael's Craft Store. I'm also going to be using cotton worsted weight yarn to make the mouth and whiskers. This is the name brand Sugar and Cream. What size eyes you use is totally up to you. I'm going to be using 16mm kawaii style eyes that I painted. Kawaii style just means that the pupil is offset instead of in the center. And with these eyes, I use these super hard plastic backs. Oops. They will never come out of your plushie, but they're also super hard to install. I designed and print these eye tools to make attaching the backs a lot easier. This is the one I always like to use, but this one is my most popular design, and this one has a little imperfection, so I thought I'd keep it for myself. If you're a beginner or you've never used one of my crochet patterns before, I would recommend that you have 7 stitch markers, a yarn needle, 6.5mm crochet hook, and I always forget to mention, but you'll need polyfill stuffing. My filming angle and setup might look a little different. I somehow annihilated my camera and light ring. I could just not deal with trying to duct tape it back together. I could show you if you want to see. I'm pretty sure I won't be able to break this one. Check it out. It's for people who do like manicures and fake nails and stuff. And underneath is all the light. And then your phone goes right at the top. There's no springs or anything that I can break. So I'm very happy with it so far. The angle just looks a little weird, so I'll have to get used to it. To start off, we're going to make a magic circle. To do that, I leave an end that's long enough to tie. Wrap the yarn around my finger, hold it with my middle finger, and then pull through and chain 1 or make a slip stitch. Then this ring is what we'll be working into. Sometimes people don't like making magic circles, or some people call them magic rings. So if you don't want to, you can just chain 2 and then work in that second chain. And it's basically the same. For row 1, we're going to make 8 single crochets into this magic circle. And now we can pull this end and it'll close the circle. You can always kind of wiggle it around too if it gets stuck, instead of trying to force it and having the whole thing break, because then you have to start again. And this yarn from Michael's, the new one I'm trying, is pretty strong. It doesn't snap like some chenille yarn does, and it doesn't shed too much either. It's pretty close to burlap blanket, just a little fuzzier and softer. And now if you can see right here, that's the little slip stitch chain we used to make the magic circle. We're going to completely ignore that and work into the top of the first real single crochet. That should have a front loop and a back loop. And what we're doing for row 2 is increases all around. So if you just saw, I did 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. Both of them made into the same stitch. That way we'll double our numbers and we'll start to make a flat circle. It's helpful to use a stitch marker to mark your rows as you go. Because we're working in the round, it can be kind of hard to see the start and finish of each row. I always mark the last stitch of each row. Other people mark the first stitch. So you should just decide what you want to do and be consistent with it the whole time so you don't get mixed up. For row 3, we're going to continue making a flat circle. And to do that, we're going to make 1 single crochet and then an increase in the next one. 1 single crochet, increase. And if you can see, your increases should always sit on top of your increases from the row before. Usually that's how I notice if I did something wrong, if my increases aren't lining up. We're going to repeat that 8 times to add 8 more stitches. This pattern is extremely similar to my original cat pattern, if you're familiar with it. We're just going to be making it in a mini version. I have been getting a few questions lately about if I crochet the way I do on purpose. The answer is no. I know a lot of people prefer yarn under than yarn under, or some do yarn over and yarn over. I didn't even notice what I did until people pointed out to me. But I usually do yarn under and then yarn over, and it's not a conscious decision. It's just how my mom taught me how to crochet when I was a kid, and I just can't change it because it's like ingrained in my muscle memory, and anytime I try to change it, I just get annoyed and go back to doing it this way. And there we go, basically done setting up the plushie. This is super easy, okay guys? For the next row, we are going to add the ears, and I'll show you a trick and walk through it slowly. It might look weird written on paper or if you're just starting to crochet, but I promise it's not hard, and once you get it, you'll be doing it no problem. To get to the point where we're going to add the first ear, we're going to crochet 15. And just normal single crochets, nothing funny about it. I think with this light, I should be holding my work like down here, because every time I bring it up here, you kind of lose the lighting and can't see it. Sorry. It'll probably take me a few videos to get used to it. 13, 14, and 15. Now, if you're a beginner, I would recommend doing this so there's no confusion and it'll be a lot less frustrating. Single crochet stitches have a front loop and a back loop. For this row, we're going to be working in the front loop only of the next 3 stitches, and then when we come back around for the next row, we're going to be working in the back loop only of those same stitches. So it's helpful to mark them now so you don't have to look for them again later. They can kind of be hard to see with the plush yarn, so it doesn't hurt to just mark them if it's your first time making this plushie. And now there's going to be 2 single crochets between the ear, and then the next 3 will be the second ear. And there should be 1 stitch left before the end of the row. Now that we have them marked, it'll be a lot easier for us to see them in the next row. In the front loop only of the first marked stitch, we're going to insert our hook and just make a single crochet. In the front loop only of the next marked stitch, we're going to make a half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet, all made into that same front loop only. So to do that, we're going to yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, pull through all 3 loops on your hook, chain 1, yarn over into that same stitch, pull up a loop, pull through all 3s, and to finish off the ear, we're going to do a single crochet in the front loop only of the next stitch. And there we go. We made a cute little cat ear. And if you can see, those 3 marked stitches are what we're going to work in the next row. Now you can do 2 single crochets between the ears and just normal through both loops. And now to make the second ear, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to insert into the front loop only of the first marked stitch, single crochet, yarn over, insert into the front loop only of the next marked stitch, pull up a loop, pull through all 3, chain 1, yarn over and insert into the same stitch, pull up a loop, pull through all 3 loops on your hook. In the front loop only of that last stitch, we're going to make a single crochet, and then we can make our last normal single crochet through both loops to finish off the row. You even it all out. There you go, you made the ears. That was the hardest part of the pattern. Now when we go around in the next row, we're going to work in these marked stitches. To start off, let's single crochet 15 to make it back to the first ear. After I finish up the patterns and videos that I'm currently working on, I'm going to do a video showing how to make a tuxedo version of the medium kitten, and that way you'll have video tutorials for all 3 sizes of cats. Honestly, I don't remember why I didn't include tuxedo cat or calico cat in the first kittens and mini patterns, so it'll be cool to extend it with like a mini part 2. That was 15. We made it around, and now you want to be careful right here, because if you can see that stitch, we don't want to work in that. That is the first front loop only single crochet. So we're going to flip the ear forward. We're going to be working in the 3 marked stitches behind the ear, so you can remove these stitch markers. The ear is folded forward, so now you just insert your hook around that back loop that we skipped, make a single crochet, insert into the back loop, single crochet, then 1 more, insert into the back loop, single crochet. Now you can flip the ear forward, and again, be careful you don't work anything right here, because that's the front loop only single crochet. This one is the first normal single crochet. So go ahead and do 2 single crochets between the ears. Then we can flip the second ear forward and we can remove these. And now working in the back loops the same way we just did. Single crochet, single crochet, and single crochet. Flip it forward. You see that's part of the ear right there. We don't want a single crochet there. So we're going to make our last single crochet in the row just normally. And there we go. We made our kitty ears. They look perfect. Now you don't have to worry for the rest of the pattern. We're just going to be working normally in these single crochets. And you didn't have to do any sewing to add on the ears. This next row we'll be adding the feet, and it might be a little different for everyone. So I'll show you how to test out where the feet are going to go to make sure that you get them on straight the first time and you don't have to redo anything. The reason it might be different for other people is the type of yarn you're using, your tension, your crochet hook. Lots of things can make everyone's plushie a little different. So it's best to just test if you're not sure. Let's make 5 normal single crochets to get to the point where we want to add our first foot. Now we can test out how it's going to look by placing a stitch marker the next stitch, skip 2 that'll be in between the feet, and add another stitch marker, and you can see what your feet will look like and if they will be even. If your feet are like over here, it's not going to affect the pattern at all. Just move them over to be as centered as you possibly can, because you don't want a lopsided cat. To create the feet, we're going to be doing a bobble stitch made with 3 double crochets. So yarn over, insert into the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2 loops. That basically makes 1 double crochet. So we're going to do that 2 more times. Yarn over, insert into the same stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, insert into the same stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2. These feet are going to be pretty small because it's for a mini kitten. If you wanted to make the feet really big, you could keep going and add 4 or 5 double crochets like I do for the larger cats. Now to finish off the bobble, we're going to pull through all of the loops on our hook while kind of pushing the foot out a little bit. Now you can pull it tight before you do the next single crochet, and that'll just help the foot push out a little bit and look like a little bobble. So we already did our first single crochet between the feet. We can do 1 more before doing our second bobble stitch in the next stitch. Yarn over, 1, 2, 3. Now push the back and pull through all the loops on your hook. You pull it tight and single crochet into the next stitch. Now we're going to single crochet around to get back to our stitch marker. It's okay if you had to adjust your feet and move them one way or the other. As long as you just make it back to the stitch marker, we'll be fine. It has been so beautiful at my house and in my yard with all the trees changing colors. Next week I signed my daughter up for like pumpkin picking at a local apple orchard. It's like a kids event, and I'm so excited to go. I'm gonna get an apple cider and wear my coziest fall sweater. A lot of horses there too, so she loves horses. She'll be very excited to see them. Now we can stop to add the eyes, and I'll show you how I like to do my whiskers. For my eyes, I like to do them around row 2, slightly above the center. So if you can see here is that center of the magic circle. I just do mine slightly above it and try to make them look even that way. I like to point my pupils up like this. You can experiment and do anything that you like. How you place the eyes and what size eyes you use and how you do the mouth really affects the way the plushie looks and can help people recognize your style and your plushies. So do whatever feels best to you and you think is the cutest. So to add the backs of the eyes, I'm going to place the plastic backings right there. And when using my safety eye tool, you can push down like this or like this. It's totally up to you. I prefer to do it like this. I just line it up and then push down as hard as I can until I hear it click. I just click it once because I don't want the eyes too sunken into the plushie. If you're using thinner yarn, you could probably click it a few more times. They're super secure and on there forever, so don't mess up. I had to take off the backs one time because I really wanted the eyes back. And I had to use a wire cutter to cut this off and it took a very long time. For the first one, I did brown for the nose and orange for the whiskers. The reason I like to use cotton, worsted weight yarn, instead of acrylic is because if you can see there are no fuzzies and it's very clean looking. It's also a little bit lighter weight than worsted weight acrylic, I feel like most of the time. So the whole reason I've always made my cats with 8 stitches starting off and throughout the whole thing, sets of 8 instead of sets of 6, is because I want the X nose to be straight. If you look, there should be 2 on the top, 2 on this side, 2 on that side, and 2 on the bottom. And that starting chain is kind of in here too. Insert your needle right on the side of those top 2. Hold down, take the yarn off your needle. This is how I've done it after trial and error of making hundreds of cats. I'm gonna put the yarn back on the needle and go through for the top of the other side. The top of your X should be a little smaller than the bottom of your X, and it just looks better in my opinion. Now if you can see, there should be 2 there. Go in diagonally. It takes an extra second, but these small details matter. They can really change the expression on the cat's face. Sometimes when the X is too big on his face or the top is too large, I feel like he looks super grumpy. These plushies are pretty small, so I didn't even know if you can tell the difference. You probably could just make the X the easy way and not take it off your yarn needle at all. But that's the way I do it. Now you can just tie these ends 3 times. Now let's add the whiskers. Kind of going to cut the same amount. I'm going to tie 4 knots on this string and I'll show you how I space them. Probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches apart. And this next one we're going to make as close as we can. Then make 1 more to make the second whisker. And you can even line it up like this to make sure that they're equal, as equally as you can get it. It doesn't really matter if you don't get it perfect. And there we go. There's our 2 whiskers. I always forget to show you guys something in the beginning for materials. You're gonna need Arlene's Fabric Fusion, at least if you want to do your whiskers this way, or you could use a hot glue gun or whatever type of glue you like. I like this because it's super mega permanent and it's never ever going to come out ever. To do my whiskers, I insert my hook around 2 stitches about there. Then I'm going to pull it through. And there we go. Do the same thing on the other side. Try and make it even. Pull it through. That looks pretty good to me. And now just turn it inside out and put a little bit of glue on the back where that string is. And that'll hold the whisker there forever. When I make a bunch of cats for my shop or for a market, I'll make a ton of them up to this point so that I can let the glue dry and I don't get any on me. But if you're careful, like right now, I'll just keep going because I'm showing you guys how to make it. You won't get it on you if you're just careful. I didn't add a ton of it. So there we go. There's our kitty cat's face all done. The next thing we're gonna do is to just single crochet around for 5 rows. I will show you really quickly how to single crochet with the bobble stitches because you shouldn't be adding or subtracting any stitches. It should just be 1 single crochet in every stitch going around. So here we go, we made it to the bobble. And if you can see, there is a front loop and a back loop right there, kind of at the back of the bobble. Just single crochet normally. Then you don't want to miss this one right here. 1, 2 between the feet. And then single crochet right there for that bobble. This is the start of the first of 5 rows around. Just remember to move your stitch marker each time if you're a beginner. I got one of those super lame looking camera mount things that goes around your neck because I have been so lazy when it comes to filming short videos. I just feel like I always have so much stuff to do, and when you stop to film like a crochet with me video, it really does turn a little like 30-minute project like this cat into like an all morning thing. So I've been focusing so hard on just like getting work done. Like if you can see all my birds, I've been making giant birds when I should be taking the time to film like little cute crochet with me videos. Maybe now that I have this super sick GoPro like camera mount for crocheting, I'll be more motivated to do it. I love making short videos because it's such a fun way to interact with new people and give them like a little glimpse into your life instead of having them commit to watching like a whole YouTube video, because sometimes people don't want to do that. I used to make one every single day when I first started my business, and I was big on doing TikTok. All of my business came from my short little videos on TikTok. So if you are just getting started out and want to get some traction, I definitely recommend doing one video a day, even if it's just something simple. I need to take my own advice and get back at it because I miss doing that. Now I can film like crochet with me POVs, so we'll see if that actually motivates me to do it. I can't laugh though, because I'm moving you guys. Okay, I'm pretty sure I got 5 rows done. Hold on, I'll go back to my desk. This part is totally up to your interpretation too. If you want to just keep going and make a super long cat, you totally can. I've always wanted to do that and fill the plushie with those little plastic beads to make a doorstop. You made a mega long cat doorstop. That would be really cool. But anyway, this is 5. I think this looks good. So that's what I did. If you are using thinner yarn though, you might have only done like this much. You might want to do a bunch more if you're doing thinner yarn, just so he doesn't look like a cat ball. Now for the next row, we're going to add the back feet. And it's a little bit the same as when we added the front feet, how we had to check and adjust them because everyone's tension and yarn and plushie is different. So for the pattern, I adjusted it to be 6 single crochets. Let's do that and see how it looks and see if we need to adjust the back feet just like we did the front feet. 4, 5, and 6. Let's test out the placement by adding stitch marker to the next one, skipping 2, and adding a stitch marker to the next. And you just want to try to line them up. That looks pretty good to me. And if you're super off, don't be scared to adjust it. It won't affect the pattern at all. The back feet will be the same as the front feet. So we're gonna do a 3 double crochet bobble stitch. We're gonna yarn over, insert, do 1, 2, and 3. Now push it forward, pull through all the loops on your hook, and make that next single crochet kind of tight. Ooh. Factory knot, no! I can fix this, it's all right. If you find a factory knot in your yarn, it's okay. Do a knot like this. Get the 2 ends together, and then pull them through, pull it as tight as you can. That's never gonna come loose, you'll be fine. I could just slip back in there, then I gotta make 1 came undone. I'll pull through, and I always kind of pray that the spacing comes out good where the knot will be on the inside like that. I could hide it. There we go. Now you can't tell that knot's in there. Now it'll never come undone because we tied it like that. So 2 between the feet, and then make another bobble for the second foot. 1, 2, 3. Pull through all of them, and then make a tight next single crochet so that it all stays together and you can see his little feet. Now we're going to single crochet around to make it back to the stitch marker. And if you had to adjust this, no big deal. Your number might be different than mine, but all that matters is that you make it back to the stitch marker. Let's single crochet around for 1 more row, and then we'll start our decreases and basically be done the plushie. Again, here I am crocheting the bobble stitch. those two. I'm excited for my pattern to come out. I'm going to release this video on the same day that my pattern comes out. I hope everyone likes it. I'm never really sure what patterns people are going to like and what ones they're not going to really care for. I think this costume cat one is super fun, so I hope a lot of people like it. There we go, our cat's looking pretty good. If you want to take a second now to stuff your plushie, might be a good idea because we're going to start decreasing and the hole on the bottom is going to get a lot smaller. So why don't we just stuff the plushie, say like 90% now, and then after we do a few more rows, you can top it off a little. I am cutting it close with this video though. I usually like to have my video edited over the weekend. I stay up late and edit it. Yeah, that breaking the light and camera holder upset me so much. I just could not deal with it. So I'm kind of pushing it. I'm recording on Monday and I'm gonna edit it and get it out tomorrow for my Patreon and YouTube members. Then it will be out for everyone on Wednesday along with the pattern. And the pattern too, I add early for my Patreon members tomorrow on Tuesday. Then it'll be out for everyone on Wednesday. There we go, that seems good to me for now. And now we're basically gonna do the opposite of what we did to start. Instead of one single crochet increase, we're gonna do one single crochet, then we're gonna do an invisible decrease, which is pulling up the front loop only from the next 2 stitches and then single crocheting normally, and that will just turn 2 stitches into 1 so that our plushie will start to come in and we can get a smaller hole that we can eventually sew closed. Some people prefer to use normal decreases, which is not using the front loop, using both loops. I think the invisible decreases work really well for round plushies. You can hardly even tell where the decreases are. But on other things like a lacy shawl or a hat or something like that, it might be good to do a normal decrease because it'll blend in better with the normal stitches. So we made it back around, and our last stitch should always be an invisible decrease. So there we go. And now we're just going to do invisible decreases all the way around. You could take a second though to add some more stuffing to make sure it's how you want it, because after this the hole is going to be very small. I know I always talk about how busy I am with my crochet stuff and how much stuff I have going on. Not that it's not my fault, because 100% it is all my fault that I have too much stuff going on. Yeah, like those birds, I was like, oh, I'll just make 1 raven and 1 pigeon. No, you guys want to see what that turned into? Hold on, why do I do this to myself? Now I'm going to be making this many birds, okay? And I'm very excited about it actually, but I will probably hate myself towards the end. I have 6 done so far and only need a million more. But it's gonna be really fun, and I've been talking to my Patreon members about it and they seem pretty into it, so you know, so like, why not just make myself hate birds forever by making way too many? So for the next row we want to just invisible decrease, no normal single crochet. So just pull up the front loop only, the next 2 stitches, pull through, single crochet. I am very excited though about my birds because I'm doing some I've never done before, and I'm gonna try to take it as a challenge, like the blue macaw and like a traditional red parrot, and then other ones like the Canada goose. I think I did a free mod for my Patreons for the little birdies. I don't know if I ever published it to Instagram. I don't really remember. It was a long time ago. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty fun. And they're low sew plushies. The only sewing is adding on the beak. So it's not like they're annoying to make. It just takes a while because they are larger plushies. Now that we finished, we made our way all the way around. We can leave a medium to long end because we're going to use this to sew the plushie closed, and it's so annoying when you run out. So just leave a little bit more than you think you're going to need. A chance to add any stuffing. My guy feels pretty good. I like to stuff my plushies firmly, and with these cats you can always do this too. Just like roll them out to get that loaf shape and to make sure all the stuffing is like evenly distributed. Feels good to me. So let's close it up. So to do this, we're gonna try to do it like a magic circle in reverse. We're gonna thread through the front loop only, of each stitch all the way around. And then we'll be able to pull it tight and it'll basically be invisible. Yeah, but with the birds, my idea was to have a witch raven, and then I did sketches and made a postman pigeon and just have like cute accessories for each type of bird. And I still want to do that. One of my Patreon members had such a cool idea, a book for the owl. I was thinking the seagull could be a lobster man or a fisherman, and I don't know how I'd do it. Maybe I could crochet an axe or a little chainsaw or something. I'm not sure. I'll have to like experiment and see what I can even do, because sometimes it's hard to make small accessories with this big plush yarn. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to tie 3 or 4 knots so it never comes out, and then I can pull through that hole, hide the knot in the plushie so you can't even tell where it is. And there we go. The bottom is all closed up and nice looking. Our little mini cat is looking good. Let's add a tail to him. To start the tail, we're going to make a magic circle. And then we're going to make 6 single crochets in the circle. Pull that tight. That first little chain slip stitch we used to make the magic circle, go into the top of the first real single crochet, and we're just going to single crochet around for 4 rows. Make sure you kind of pop it right side out like that. I like shorter tails on my cats, but just like the length in the middle, you can change this and make it however many rows that you like. Some people like longer tails, and I think it looks really nice. All I want to do though is crochet those giant birds, but I have a lot of stuff I'm obligated to do that I'm excited about as well. But you know how it is. Sometimes all you want to do is just like zone out and crochet a billion birds. I have to finish this video, then I'm going to edit it, put together a thumbnail, and then I have to make my positive post packages for October. They go out on Wednesday. I'm hoping I can ship them out on Wednesday. I might have to wait until Thursday because I ran out of pretty tissue paper, and I like to package them really nicely, like they're a present you're getting in the mail. So I might have to wait until Thursday to ship them out. The pretty tissue paper I ordered isn't here in time. And then after that, I'll be free to bird it up. But it is kind of a lot of work. I have 30 spots for my positive post, and I paint each person 3 pairs of eyes. So that's 90 eyes. And then I handwrite everyone a note too. So I try to space out the note writing between 2 days because sometimes my hand hurts. I thought about maybe extending it to have more spots, but I'd have to do typed letters. I couldn't. I can't write more than 30 letters. So we got our tail all finished up, fastened off, left a long end. Now we're just going to sew it on. I insert my yarn needle right about there, bring it up. I'm going to secure the front and the back first. That way the tail doesn't really move around too much and end up lopsided. And I'm just going to go around, loop around each stitch on the tail and secure it down. And towards the back, we're going to do the same thing as we did when we closed it. Just grab onto a loop and tie 3 or 4 times. Hide your knot inside the plushie. There's our cute kitty. We're all done the body. Let's power through it and add a cute little pumpkin stem and vine. Fair warning, it's going to be a little bit annoying to make this, okay? But only for like the first few rows, and then we're past it. For the stem, we're going to make a magic circle. And then we're going to place 4 single crochets. I know, don't hate me. It's so annoying because when you go to like put them together, it's such a small space and it's hard to crochet. But it looks good when it's on there, so let's just trust the process. We just made 4, you gotta pull it tight. And now this is the part that is not the most fun. Try to get in there. And we're gonna single crochet around for 2 rows. I just try and count to 4 twice, so 8. And make sure it's the right side out from the beginning. If you were using thinner yarn and a smaller crochet hook, this wouldn't be so annoying. So you could always make this in a thinner like velvet yarn, and that might be easy. I used to make the kitten tails with 5 single crochets around. I got too annoyed by it, so I just changed it to 6, and I can't even tell the difference, but this is right on its head, so you want it to kind of be small. There we go. There's our little stem. Now we can chain 11. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then this will just be the turning chain, so 11. You're gonna ignore that turning chain and work into the 10th chain that we made, and we're gonna place 2 single crochets in every chain all the way down, and this will make a fun little curly Q vine. If you want it to be super extra curly, you could try to do 3 single crochets for each chain. It might be a little bulkier though. And now we can just slip stitch back into the stem so it's kind of all connected. Leave a longer end so that we can sew onto his head and we don't have to worry. This is where having some of those amigurumi sticks would really come in handy. So I kind of like to position it like this with the vine off to the right side, right behind his ear. And we're kind of just gonna do the same thing we did with the tail. Secure the front and the back so that it stays where you want it to. And then you can work your way around the base of the stem, securing down each stitch as you go. And then I'll show you a little trick that I did for mine that I think made it look a little more seamless and just all in one kind of. So when I get to this point, you see that's not too pretty looking. So I'm gonna go around and just loop around those stitches a few times just to make it look more of a solid color and less patchy. First on the first one, just to kind of fix up the stitches. But then the more I thought about it and looked at him, I kind of liked that it looked more like the stem was part of his head and not just a sewn on little topper. We're gonna end the same way we have been. We're gonna find a spot in the back, tie a knot 3 times and hide the knot inside the plushie. There we go, our cute little pumpkin mini kittens are finished. I hope you had fun crocheting and that you liked the video. Don't forget to take some time for yourself this fall. Go grab yourself an apple cider and pick pumpkins at a pumpkin patch. Alright, I'll talk to you again in next week's video. Bye.